What's up, guys? Eric here with Roaming Romances, and the question I get a lot is how am I able to travel long term and to be able to support myself financially? And so definitely pay attention to the last couple minutes of this video where I'll kind of tell you exactly how I got started back in 2019 taking long-term trips, not just little short one-week vacations. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the psychology of it, which I really do believe it is 80% of the battle. And understand that the biggest change for me in my entire life was when I started to prioritize long-term growth over immediate gratification. You see, I used to be incredibly frustrated with my life, especially dating. I'm from the United States. It was very frustrating. I would get very few matches on Tinder. Women that I liked were not attracted to me. And at the same time, women that I was not attracted to, those were the ones that were attracted to me. It was like a weird conundrum. And I used to spend most of my free time drinking booze, playing Call of Duty, watching Netflix. I used to buy a lot of clothes and watches and shoes. Not for me, just so I could wear them so I could impress other people. And now my life is literally beyond my wildest dreams. I couldn't imagine being able to travel the world, but one of the best things that I ever did is I actually went to 2 Tony Robbins conventions. This was about 10 years ago. And no, I'm not a Tony Robbins fanboy where I'm going around quoting him, but he said some things that I couldn't unhear. They were like painful to hear at the time, but they just really stuck in my mind. And there have been a lot of other virtual mentors to me that, I've never met them personally, but I've read their books and listened to their podcasts. Guys like David Goggins and Jocko Willenick, of course Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss, Naval Ravikant. I've read those guys' books, the ones I have books, several times just to feed my mind and absorb what they're trying to say. And one of the biggest things to understand is that, everybody wants to know the how. They tell me exactly what to do, the details of it. When in fact, the how you get there to your end goal is actually the most irrelevant. It's the least important. And that's not just me saying it, that's what I've learned from those guys, and I started to put it into practice, and now I'm sitting here years later and I just totally, completely agree with it. It's not the how, it's the what. And the what is the end goal, right? So it's got to be exact, it's got to be clear, it's got to be detailed, it's got to be written down on paper, it's got to be reviewed frequently, it's got to be visualized, take time to visualize it and see where it exactly. And if you would have asked me a long time ago, like back when I was a teenager, it was like, Eric, what do you really, really want to do? It would have been like, I want to travel the world. I want to be a world traveler. I want to date women in different countries. And voila. And if you've clearly defined what it is you want, there are literally millions of pathways to get there. And a prime example is, as I've been traveling, I've made so many friends, I've got so many cool dudes in my corner, and I've talked to them, and literally everybody has a completely different path. And I'll give you a few examples. My buddy in the Philippines, this guy works on a ship for 3 months, and then he gets 3 months off. So he busts his ass for 3 months, and then gets 3 months off to chill. And that's what he does all year, every year. I've met crypto traders, I've met digital nomads, I've met bloggers, YouTubers, real estate investors, guys doing remote sales. I've met English teachers. That's a great way where a lot of guys are out teaching English in these third world countries and are able to live in those countries. I've met guys that are selling moving services remotely in the US. I've met computer programmers. There's so many more pathways. But I mentioned at the beginning that I would tell you kind of how I got started, and I do think that this way is the quickest, which is to start with seasonal work and sabbaticals. Seasonal work where you bust your ass for like 3 months or 6 months, and then you can take a long-term trip. Not just a 1-week vacation like a lot of these guys are only capable of doing because of either financial reasons or job responsibilities. Their job won't let them take longer than 1 week. And guess what? When you get more than just 1 week, let's say you get 2 months or 3 months, you can travel to Asia or South America or Africa where the cost of living is so much lower, and then the money that you had saved during the time when you were busting your butt will go a lot farther. And when you can stay in a country longer than a week or 2, you're going to attract totally the different type of woman. Because most of the really quality women that I meet, one of the first questions that they're going to ask you is, how long are you here for? And when you say you're only here for a week, most of them will say pass. And you might have to quit your job. And I'm not telling you to quit your job. That's a big decision, a personal decision that you have to make. but I'm telling you what I did. So, I was working a 9 to 5 job in a cubicle with good money as a computer programmer, except they only gave me 2 weeks vacation per year. So I'd never be able to travel other than a vacation. So I actually did quit that job back in 2019. And I got a job with one of my favorite hobbies is tennis at a tennis club where there's a ton of seasonal work. All the kids have the summers off, so during the summer it's just slammed busy. You got all these summer camps, and during those 3 months in the summer, I would bust my butt getting all the overtime I could get. At the same time, I got rid of my bachelor pad that I had all the stuff in. I sold the stuff, got some money from that, and I moved into a house with 4 roommates. And it was dirt cheap, and I was able to just pile money away while at the same time I'm doing overtime at work. And as far as seasonal jobs go, it's important to just be a stellar employee, man, so they can't wait for you to come back. You're on time every day. You don't bring any drama to the table. You work hard. You pick up shifts when other people call out. And you don't party on the weekends. You eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You don't spend your money or on an unnecessary materialistic crap to impress other people. You just pile it away, save every penny that you got. And then boom, there you go. You've got your money. Seasonal job ends and you go and take a 3-month trip, or let's say a 6-month trip out to Asia. A lot of places are dirt cheap. And if you've been a good employee, the next time that seasonal work comes around, they're gonna ask you, they still ask me, hey, are you gonna be able to come back this summer? We'd love to have you. But now that you've taken that trip, it'll literally change your life. You'll develop a thirst, and that's all you wanna do is just keep going. And drop a comment in the comment section. I really love to hear where you guys are at currently with your journey, and I hope to see you on the road soon. Ciao.